Hello, everyone. I think we're live. I'm Ivan from Ambire, and I'm happy to welcome you on this live stream dedicated on EIP-7702, hosted by Ambire Wallet. I'll start with a quick intro. We'll be talking today EIP-7702, a groundbreaking proposal submitted by Vitalik and other core Ethereum developers designed to streamline the integration of account abstraction. It allows EOAs to enjoy account abstraction features like gas sponsorships, batch transactions, and custom logic for executing transactions. It is scheduled to go live with the Ethereum Pectra upgrades, already live on Sepolia testnet. We don't know an exact date when Pectra will go live on mainnet, but we know that it is just behind the corner. So today we'll be discussing 7702 in details, the benefits, the doubts, and the opportunities. I am joined by Ivo, founder and CEO of Ambire, Vaibhav, co-founder at Socket, Akshay, co-founder and CTO at Enclave, Laurent, VP of Architecture at Ledger, and Emily, DevRel lead at Scroll. Nice to have you, everyone. I have some questions prepared for you all. However, yes, I will be asking you some questions, but everyone is welcome to join the discussion at any time. We'll start with an intro question. We are obviously all excited about the upcoming EIP-7702. However, in your opinion, what is the single most important benefit of 7702 for end users? This is for everyone. We can start with Emily.
Yeah, okay, cool. Hi, I'm Emily. I lead the DevRel team here at Scroll. What excites me at 7702? I will say this is actually very cool because I hate smart contract wallets in general, so I don't think I ever used it really. But I think the cool thing is probably the bundling of like all the transactions, being able to kind of do things in a very smooth way without having to like, I guess, think further or click more buttons, really.
Yeah, I'm happy to chime in next. I'm BC. I work at Socket. We are largely a chain abstraction protocol, and one of the top use cases comes with when you combine account abstraction stuff and chain abstraction stuff. But I think largely from where I'm sitting at, it was super tough, right? Like going to every sort of like DApp out there, trying to convince them to make their thing account abstraction compatible. That, in my opinion, has like largely been the reason why there isn't like as much adoption for account abstraction as it could have been. But I think now with 7702, it's at the protocol level, which makes EOA sort of like upgrade and sort of offer somewhat similar capabilities, at least like the top ones, and that now being like very easy to access by all DApp developers out there. So I'm super excited. I'm chatting with multiple DApp builders in the space. They are all super excited to see this, sort of like roll out and finally start to add like very basic functionality which other ecosystems have, like Solana, where you don't have to do approvals. Now we can do that on Ethereum, and that itself I think will be like such a big blocker for the space. Yeah, but very, very keen to hear what other people, Ivo, Laurent, Akshay, who are much more experienced on this have to say.
I can jump in. So I personally think it boils down to two big benefits and two big immediate benefits and lots of benefits for the future. So the immediate benefits are transaction batching, which eliminates approvals essentially. So that's a very big security improvement in the space. Although hot take maybe, approvals are maybe not such a big issue because unupgradable contracts which are generally secure do not present any risk with approvals, but upgradable contracts do. So it's great that we are getting rid of this. But I think personally for me, the gas stuff is more advantageous at the moment because we jump to different layer 2s all the time to hunt airdrops or whatever. And jumping to a different layer 2 and realizing you don't have any funds for gas is a pain point. And this solves it because you can pay from another network. So that's fantastic. And future benefits, it's really unlimited, because you can still do account recovery and you can even do autonomous stuff like AI integration. So I think it's super exciting in that way, but that's more long term.
Yeah, I would definitely second that one because actually, so let me give you my pitch. On the hardware wallet side, definitely the signature operation can be a little bit cumbersome. So for us, upgrading to smart contract wallet will provide actually far better user experience in some cases for users, which is quite an improvement on what can be done. But personally, for me, the real powerful use cases will come from what you can do around delegation, actually, with a smart contract wallet, because it unlocks the kind of interaction with the blockchain that would not have been possible before without putting too much your funds at risk. And here we have a quite elegant solution to actually build those kind of interactions. So definitely interesting for me personally on that stage.
Yeah, I guess I can go next. I think the biggest unlock that 7702 is going to bring to users is, of course, like your existing EOA users. So that includes MetaMask users, Rabi users. When you think about account abstraction, I think the biggest point of friction for why it wasn't really adopted is because it requires users to migrate all their funds from their existing wallets, right? And if you look at like the MetaMask UX, the network level complexities are just in your face. You have to like switch between networks and like move assets one at a time. Imagine if you're a power user on MetaMask and you have to move all your funds to a smart contract wallet. That's probably going to take you an entire day where you just keep clicking on your computer screen. And that nobody's ever going to do that. I think the biggest unlock, I think the biggest unlock is the fact that we can now go to the mass users who are on MetaMask, Rabi, and other EOA wallets. And wallets do have like high inertia. Once people like kind of use a wallet, they're kind of locked into it. The likelihood that they change is very low. I think the user experience that they kind of go through, they're making a trade-off between, okay, like the user experience sucks, but it's convenient for me to like just continue using this because I've been using this for so long. I think that barrier gets broken down. And now the millions of users that already exist on your existing EOA wallets can now enjoy the benefits of transaction bundling, gas sponsorship, paying for gas in ERC20 tokens, and of course, like eventually a chain abstracted experience, which is what BC also alluded to earlier, where users who are using MetaMask, eventually it could feel like they're just using one chain, right? Not multiple blockchains, sorry, but just one single chain. So I think, yeah, that's the biggest unlock for users that I'm personally excited about.
Welcome, Chase, a few minutes later, but we're joined by Chase from Offchain Labs. And yeah, the question that everyone is answering is, what is the single most exciting benefit of 7702 based on your opinion?
Hey everyone, thanks for having me. Sorry for being late. I lead AI and infrastructure partnerships at Offchain Labs. We're the builders of the Arbitrum tech stack. I would say the most exciting development for 7702 for users is sort of what Ivo touched on. It's how it enables a better cross-chain experience across the Ethereum ecosystem. So at Offchain Labs, we're working very closely with the EF interop team, as well as all the other layer 2s to develop a universal intents engine. And one of the things that 7702 allows us to do very simply is not only the bridge, but the bridge plus action on destination chain. That way, Ivo touched on the fact that like you have to top up gas on the destination chain, or you have to figure out a way to get the gas over there. And then you might end up with like $1 or $2 of leftover ETH that's pretty much going to stay on that chain forever. So 7702 enables like a much better cross-chain experience where I can go mint this NFT, purchase this token, do whatever on this app chain, or play this game on this app chain without having to bridge all my funds to a single chain or having to leave a certain amount, of dust on that chain. That's sort of like making the transaction $2 more expensive than it otherwise would have been, because now this dust is just going to remain on XYZ layer 2 or app chain. Sorry if there's a bunch of noise in that.
Amazing. So we have two representatives of networks, and yeah, this next question is for Chase and Emily. And some say that L2s will enable 7702 even before the mainnet fork. What are the plans of Arbitrum and Scroll for it?
I can start. I don't have like an exact date. I can tell you the engineering team is already working on it, right? So it's more of like a race. Will we do it first? I can't say necessarily, but if you want to talk about, I guess, 7702 in general, kind of where we are at with Scroll first pieces, our goal is to always be like one to one, right? So whatever changes Ethereum is making, we're making those changes too. I think the other thing that's interesting, like aside from the engineering part, I want to talk about is like all of the open source tooling that's already coming out around 7702. And Scroll's very focused on open source. Our foundation right now is kind of making the whole list of like, who do we want to fund? What are the interesting ways we can do it with like deep funding and everything? And, as these open source tools improve and come out and gain adoption, I think that's another way we plan on folding that into our network, so to speak.
So a major protocol upgrade such as 7702 and Pectra more broadly, for that to be supported on the Arbitrum network, it has to first be approved by the Arbitrum DAO. This ARB OS 40 upgrade has already been posted in the DAO, just in preparation for the Pectra hard fork. Once that has been approved, there's a process. Well, once that proposal has gone live, been approved and voted on via tally, the Arbitrum network will process those upgrades, but I wouldn't expect it to be before the Pectra hard fork takes place.
All right, amazing. Now I have a question for Laurent, and it is 7702 compatible with cold storage? And what are Ledger's plans for integrating 7702?
Sure. First, definitely 7702 is compatible with cold wallet or hardware wallets or hardware signers, however you want to call them. First, because with 7702, your EOA is still active on the network and can still sign transaction. So you still actually need to protect those like very precious keys on the best solution you can find, which are still hardware wallet on the market to this day. So this is kind of the first point. But second, with the upgrade to smart contract wallet, you still have a role to play with hardware wallet because they are very powerful signers to authorize actions on your smart contract wallet. And there's definitely a role in which smart contract wallet, hardware wallet enable more advanced policies on your smart contract wallet. As an example, you could just require basic authorization, like with your passkey for transfers below 1 ETH and above 1 ETH actually require hardware wallet signature to authorize the transfer. This is the kind of policy you can actually express with smart contract wallets and implement with a combination of smart contract wallets and hardware signers actually. So this is a very powerful use case that you can enable with a combination of both smart contract wallets, hardware wallets, and the upgrade of using 7702. So this is a very interesting world that we're going to build thanks to that. And as far as Ledger plans are concerned, so first, we definitely want to not block our users. So basically, we will be supporting on our device 7702 signatures from Pectra day one, actually. At least at the target. Bear with us if we are a little bit late, but at least we target supporting it very at the very beginning. So that means, if you know a little bit the details of 7702, that means being able to sign authorizations thanks to your device on your hardware wallet. Also sign transaction type 4. This is not strictly necessary with 7702, but we will have the support for signing transaction type 4 on the hardware wallet itself. It will also be added to our brand new device signer kit, which is kind of the middleware that we use to connect to hardware wallets. So that means that for all the software wallets out there, if you just upgrade to our latest device signer kit, you will be able to support 7702 through Ledger devices from Pectra day one. So this is roughly our plan. And for our own software wallet, which is called Ledger Live, we have a bit less definite plan actually. So we definitely intend to explore what is doable with smart wallet in Ledger Live, but I can't give you any hard timeline about when we will support this kind of feature in Ledger Live. Because definitely for us, the most important is to support it on the Ledger hardware wallet in order to not block any user on the upgrade to 7702. I will just add one last point, which is a question that comes back often to us when we actually ask about 7702. We will be building our signature on an unauthorized whitelist of smart contracts because we don't want to put our users in the difficulty of upgrading to any smart contract wallet implementation. And we will probably be following the EF whitelist, which is currently being built to make sure that we upgrade to an industry approved list of smart contract wallet implementations. That's a question that often comes back.
That's really cool, by the way. Amazing that you're gonna support it from day one. Question about the whitelist. How do we get on the whitelist?
So as I mentioned, it's definitely starting with the EF Foundation whitelist. So work with the EF Foundation to get on their whitelist. Since we are Ledger and we have security at our core, we definitely will be running our own checks on the implementation itself from the Donjon team, which is kind of a Ledger security team. But I would expect that at the end we will be targeting supporting the full whitelist provided by the Ethereum Foundation. That's going to be
Awesome.
our main target. So I would say work with the EF to be on the EF whitelist. That's your best bet.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. And one more thing I wanted to say about the cold storage. I think there is a very big misconception that people think that contracts are sort of their own like entities and like a security mess, so to speak. But the reality is most of the contracts that are gonna get authorized for 7702 delegations, so all the contracts that are gonna be on the whitelist are gonna be sticking to what you're signing with your actual private key. So those contracts are not going to have any autonomous abilities, and they're going to be strictly 100% controlled by the private key assigned to them, which is yours. So it's going to be 100% cold storage, and it doesn't really break. If you're using a hardware wallet, I mean, like Ledger, you're not going to be breaking any assumptions of the cold storage. So the contracts are not going to be able to act autonomously on your funds.
Yeah, it's kind of for me a very important point at first because 7702 is very powerful in terms of what it can allow. It's also kind of a new brand of attack vector on the users. So we have, as a whole, as an industry, we have to be super careful about what we authorize to normal users, I would say. So advanced user, sure, you can do everything you want. You can lose all your funds if you want to. But definitely for mainstream users, we both have to allow them to upgrade to better user experience and what the 7702 can bring, but also in a way that doesn't put them too much at risk from the latest hack we've been seeing all around. Actually, that's for me that's very important point around 7702 actually. So.
All right. Next question in general is for Ivo because I wanted to ask what are the UX benefits for wallets coming from EIP-7702. However, the beautiful thing is that every one of us, whatever we are doing, we are eventually using wallets. So everyone is welcome to chime in as well. Let's start with you. What are the benefits for wallets?
So I think that the main benefit would actually be in gas abstraction. It may sound strange as singling out this as the main benefit, but it really enables a lot of cross-chain interactions that were otherwise not possible, which is the name of the game basically. Because the most friction right now, I think, is definitely in the cross-chain stuff. So yeah, I would summarize it with that.
Does
Anyone else want to chime in?
Yeah, I guess I can go next. Yeah, I completely agree with Ivo. I think gas abstraction and enabling cross-chain interactions without requiring users have funds on a particular chain is like super important. I think from like a developer POV, there are also a couple of interesting things about 7702. I think the cost to like deploy a smart contract wallet effectively goes to zero if you like use 7702 like creatively. And you can essentially deploy a wallet for a user across multiple networks at the same address. Previously, you would probably have to use something like a create2 or a create3, and you would have to actually deploy your contract using create2 or create3 construct. I think with the nature of EOAs, given that they're universal across networks, you don't need to go through the hassle of using something like that. And you essentially don't need to deploy a contract in the first place. The user can sign a signature to sign the authorization, and effectively the EOA address becomes like a proxy for a smart contract wallet, and they don't need to pay gas. So it's cheap for the user. It's also cheap for like the application that's kind of building on top of this construct to kind of create user accounts. I think one major question that people who are building in the account abstraction space get asked is, when the user creates an account with your wallet, who's paying for the gas to actually create the account? And usually the answer is some combination of either the wallet ends up kind of fronting that cost and they bite the bullet, or you kind of have to offload that cost to the user when they submit their first transaction and the wallet actually gets deployed. So somebody is kind of fronting the cost. Over here, this new construct of 7702 kind of enables people to create essentially free smart contract wallets. So I think that's super useful from a wallet POV as well.
By the way, I think that's a very good perspective because let me put it at a very high level. I think 7702 transforms wallet UX because it gets rid of the phenomenon of smart contract wallet. As Emily said in the beginning of the call, she said, I hate smart contract wallets, and that's like mostly fair because most of the smart contract wallets in the space, they're very limited. Like they require you to do a separate deployment transaction, which is absolutely insane. Like this is worse than seed phrases. Then they also are limited in terms of the networks you can use, which is also frankly insane. And now we get this like with Ambire, over time we've done a million things to work around all of those inherent limitations. But now 7702 makes it so much easier to solve this across the industry and to get rid of this distinction between smart accounts and EOAs. Because also another pain point is you plug in your ledger and you see all of the EOAs that you're used to. But now, how do we create a flow for creating the smart account? And how do we explain to the user where this smart account is coming from? And how do we explain to the user that this smart account is actually secured by the ledger only, and it's not something that has its own logic or some other key or something like this? So this has been a big pain point, and 7702 just gets rid of this pain point.
All right.
Can I? Sorry,
yeah, please.
Can I ask a question to the group? What changes do you guys expect dApp builders needing to make to support all the functionality that 7702 enables?
I think it's mostly EIP-57. Oops, I forgot the number. 5792, which is the EIP that allows the dApp to tell the wallet multiple actions to sign, multiple calls. So essentially the batching API, and I think there's one more EIP for transaction sponsorship and paymaster logic. So I think those are going to be the big ones, and dApps are actually moving quite nicely with this. Revoke implemented it, Lido as well, and a bunch of others that I'm blanking out on, but a bunch of them already did.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see that happen. Yeah, thanks.
Can I ask, I guess, a response question? Pardon my ignorance. I don't know that much about 7702 because I'm not super in that space. But you're asking, how does this affect dApp builders and kind of changes they need to make? My gut feeling was, isn't this more on the wallet side? Do like consumer dApp users need to do something different, or can they rely on like wallet integrations and like the wallet builders to do stuff with 7702?
I would say it's between apps and wallet builders. Users wouldn't really need to do anything. They would just reap the benefits.
Oh, let me rephrase. Consumer dApp builders, right? So say I'm doing XYZ, do I need to like think about actually integrating 7702, or can I just rely on whatever wallet providers I'm using to do it? Right. So
That's
I
a really
don't.
hard question to answer because it really
Okay.
it really depends. Like if the
Okay.
consumer app is using an embedded wallet, then I would say 99% they wouldn't need to do anything and they wouldn't need to be aware of it. They would still most likely need to be aware of the batching concept and how to take advantage of this. If they use a upstream provider like extension wallets, Wallet Connect, etc., they also kind of need to be aware of this. So I think there is almost no way to reap the full benefits without consumer app builders being aware of them. But it's very easy for them to be aware, one, and two, it's very easy for them to reap those benefits. It's like a couple of hours changes for most people. I think we have some dApp builders here. VC, can you speak to that?
Oh, yeah, I think my actually front end engineer is like behind just like working on this stuff right now. So yeah, I think like should be simple. I will chat with him after and like see if it actually is. But yeah, I think like to be fair, there is like additional functionality that's being enabled here, right? So it's kind of obvious that okay, like if you do like these couple of things, you can reap all the benefits. So I think it makes like total sense to like do like some effort to plug into this extra functionality that's now natively available. So I'm super excited to see.
Actually, by the way, the batching has been something that dApp builders need to do for a long time. They just didn't have the incentive. So 5792 has been around for a while, in its final form for less time. But still, that's something like batching is something that apps could have implemented without 7702, and it would have worked for like true smart account wallets. They just have much more incentive now because now we're talking about all of the accounts on the Ethereum network and on EVM networks, and not only like the small niche of smart account wallets, which is by the way not so small when you include Safe, right? But still, now we're talking about absolutely everyone, so they have much more incentive to do this now.
Yeah, but there's definitely a role to play from the connectors. Actually, you mentioned Wallet Connect, and basically all the libraries connecting dApps to wallets for sure have a role to play here because currently most of the transactions are crafted by the dApps, and the wallet, and even worse, the signer actually don't see the end result of the crafting part. So yeah, there's no way to completely abstract that away from dApp currently. So the connectors can really help everyone here by providing an interface that would abstract that away from dApp on one end and from wallets on the other side too. Actually, that would be really helpful if we can drive the adoption of that kind of APIs.
By the way,
Can I
I
ask?
just wanted to add one more thing about the hardware wallet side. I think that this enables the door to enabling 712 for many more actions, and this will make blind signing pretty much go away. But we need to put some work into it, right? So every delegator implementation needs to be really religious about this. Chase, I think you wanted to say something, or
Yeah, I
someone
actually had a
wanted. Yeah.
question on the like dApp builder side. Because 7702 makes it easier to enable permissions for EOAs, do dApp builders need to be more security focused for what they're actually enabling their end users or what permissions they're giving their end users when it comes to interacting with the protocol, where previously they were mostly just worried about the assets that were held inside of their smart contract vaults, and now they have to worry about the assets in their users' EOAs as well.
So I looked into MetaMask permissions a lot, and I personally think that it's a very double-edged sword, and it could open another gate to hell, so to speak. But it also streamlines UX a lot. So it's really literally a double-edged sword. And yeah, everyone needs to be more aware. And I'm not really sure how those challenges are going to be tackled, but they do exist. They do exist. But I personally think the permission stuff isn't close to production. Would have been nice to have someone from MetaMask here to give us a more real view of that. But I personally think permissions won't be happening anytime soon because it's a quite new paradigm for dApps too. dApps need to integrate this, and they need to think of their application in a totally different way. And also another really important thing is permissions are kind of a bit in conflict with intents. And not exactly, but for some things they're competing. Like for swaps, I would definitely 100% want to be using intents over permissions. Why would I want to use permissions, right? Intents are so easy, and the wallet can just tell me, you wanna swap 100 USDC for a minimum of this amount of ETH, and I can see this on my hardware wallet because the hardware wallet can understand 712 messages typed data really easily, and it can display it in a really nice way. So I think intents would be the preferred paradigm for stuff where a lot of money is involved, and permissions would only be used for stuff where very little money is involved or money isn't really that involved, so like games or stuff like that. So I think that this would be really the right solution here.
Okay, I'm sorry, I want to hijack one more question. Can someone here write a post about all the different trade-offs you should consider so I can send it to people, preferably on Reddit?
Oddly specific requests.
Yeah. And you probably mean a
You
book
should have
rather than a
DM'd
post.
this.
But
Sorry, what?
you probably mean a book rather than a post because it has quite a lot of trade-offs.
I mean, I think the other thing, this question comes more from just lack of exposure, right? Everyone here knows what it is. I feel like if you're in the space and you're following like blah blah blah, like I have builders I interact with who don't even know what account abstraction is, right? So this is like way too far ahead, and then you're asking them to make these decisions that they have no idea how to make the decisions around. So challenge is yes, there's probably a lot to go over with. I say Reddit post because it's like, how do you ELI5 this to random strangers on the internet who might be tinkering around and playing with stuff to actually do something about this? That's my 2 cents.
By the way,
yeah.
I have a really hot take here, is that we don't have to make any trade-offs. I mean, as long as we adhere to some basic design limitations, then 7702 is mostly trade-off free. And what I say by design limitations, mostly like the Ethereum Foundation whitelist, that's a really important one. And not getting contracts which are too complicated or too crazy into this whitelist, that's one of the limitations. The second limitation would be make sure that everything is as clear sign as possible, and we avoid blind signing as much as possible. And I think if we adhere to these limitations, and actually one more really important one is never allow the DApp to designate a delegator authorization. This should be managed by the wallet. It should never be managed by a DApp. And if we adhere to these limitations, then I think it's almost trade-off free and it's only benefits.
I think I would maybe disagree with you slightly there. I think like one thing like that needs to be like really accounted for, and like people need to be careful about when like dealing with 7702 is you may get the benefits of account abstraction wallets, like smart contract wallets, but you do have the drawback that it's still an EOA. So the security risks kind of are the same, right? I think it's easy to forget that, oh, my EOA is going to get converted into a smart contract wallet, and maybe I can like have all these different types of like new types of signatures to like access funds in my account. Maybe I can have like multi-sig logic on my account. But at the end of the day, if the EOA is compromised, the wallet is completely compromised. I think that's not the case if you were actually deploying a smart contract wallet. And I think like with an EOA, if you're creating an EOA, a new EOA, maybe in a TEE, you initialize it with 7702, and then you like discard the private key, so it was never really exposed to the real world.
There's an even better way, by the way. Biconomy came up with a rootless 7702 account where you can mathematically prove that the private key doesn't exist because you choose a random S value for the signature using Nick's method. So you just choose the deterministic value for the signature and work out the address from that. And this way you prove that there is no private key. So you can do this way better than TE. And you are completely correct. But what I think about this is that about the fact that it's still on your way, we don't make steps forward, but we don't take any steps backwards either. Those accounts are still continue to get used either way with or without 7702. And actually, I think 7702 gives them a little bit of a better migration path because you can migrate all the assets in one transaction. Someone touched on this earlier. And the crazy thing is that not only you can migrate the assets, but you can migrate also the Aave positions. Because with 7702 you can take flash loans, so you can just one-click migrate to another account in the future.
Yeah, But I think the real value add is like you don't have to migrate, right? Because like now your account is upgraded, all your assets
Yeah,
are
it
already on the
depends.
same
Yeah,
gateway.
it depends. You might want to move to a multi-sig one day. This might become the preferred security paradigm. Even though I am personally really a fan of hardware wallets, but why not both, right? Why not a multi-sig with hardware wallets as signer keys?
That's actually a use case which is a little bit unclear for me. Not the multi-sig one, but if you actually upgraded twice for me, I'm not sure we are still ready for that, because basically you're reusing the storage of your EOF or running both smart contract wallet, and there's nothing in the smart contract that will actually guarantee that this is going to work with two different implementation of smart contract wallet accounts. So for now, at least personally, I would say don't upgrade twice to different implementations that you've not checked are compatible, which is not something most users can do. So for me, you will be upgrading only once and never again. Actually, that's.
By the way, I have very good news for you. This is a solved problem, and I think the Ethereum Foundation is going to enforce it. So some contracts, actually most of the contracts right now, use storage at some offset, at some random offset, which is a hash of the like like a hash of the word Ambire or whatever. And this way you are guaranteed to use different storage slots. The storage space is very big, it's 2 to the power of 256. So I think the Ethereum Foundation is going to want all of the contracts on the whitelist to be following this pattern, because otherwise it's such a huge foot gun. Imagine, like, it's such an amazing foot gun. You put the EOA in one extension, you put it in another extension, it wants you to sign a different delegation. You do it and you break the account. At least you actually no, you break the smart contract mode temporarily, but still it's a very big foot gun. So yeah, I think the Ethereum Foundation is going to be stopping this from happening.
Yeah, let's be very strict about that one. Yeah, if all the contract on the whitelist should follow the pattern actually, because otherwise it's going to be pretty big. So that will be definitely, for instance, the kind of thing we will check ourselves. So if ever our whitelist doesn't contain a contract, that's probably one of the reasons. For instance, that's for sure. That's
very good decision.
I wanted to actually piggyback on one point you mentioned about avoiding blind signing and clear signing, because that's something we are working very hard on actually at Ledger. And we've tried to push. We actually pushed an ERC to help DApp for DApp to help hardware wallets actually clear sign properly, or hardware wallet or any wallet, clear sign properly their interaction, which is called 7730 actually. And my point was really there's definitely something to do for better clear signing on device of interaction, especially of EIP-712. But we definitely need your help, because the current form of EIP-712 is, let's say, developer friendly, but not really user friendly. There's a lot of information that are missing to display EIP-712 in a proper manner for users to interpret correctly. So even if using EIP-712 and smart contract wallet is actually better than what we currently have, that's not enough to be really called clear signing as what I would call clear signing. It's in between, basically. It's what we call raw signing. So it's something in between. So good for very aware users, but not really good for the mass market. And to get to the last stage, we actually need DApp help to provide wallets with formatting information about the way what you expect in your EIP-712 messages actually. So with that, we should be able, as an industry, to get rid completely of blind signing and really move toward clear signing and very clear intent for users displayed on their hardware wallet or wallets. And that should really help the security also of upgrading to a smart contract to the smart contract wallet actually. So definitely a call to action for any DApp listening us out there to help us with the promotion of this ERC actually.
Amazing. I don't have, well, actually, I wanted to ask about 7702 MITs and FUD, but I think that you mostly commented on most of them. So now is the time if someone wants to freestyle and add anything on the topic, like in general.
Yeah, I think what Emily requested and a bunch of these, like multiple posts, like probably, like um, written from like different perspectives. I think accounts are like something that every crypto user has, and it affects like dApp builders, it affects developers, it affects wallets. So I think like posts targeting multiple audiences on do and do nots, like very simple language with no EIP numbers, preferably, would I think go very far. You know, I think it's kind of nice that in crypto, like earlier you could like keep track of everything in the space, but now there are like so many niches. Account abstraction stuff is one niche, bridging is one niche, like scaling is one niche, right? So I think people are not able to like keep up with stuff. So I think something like that would be super helpful. Teams can like forward it internally and make all of this happen.
Oh, also 2 requests on there, and this ties into the myth. Can you write in bold letters, "This does not replace 4337"? Because I think that was my gut reaction when I first heard it, right? And then number 2, this is more on you, Ivan. Convert this into all text with AI, and then just ask ChatGPT to summarize everything we said with ELI5, and then change it to sound like a human.
Even
First
better,
of all,
make a nice TikTok video, and I'm sure we'll get to everyone.
Oh, or there's that if you see the trend, there's like the 4chan trend where it's like finish the green text, me B7702.
Exactly.
Yeah, that one.
Thank you, guys. By the way, you've been feeding us with content ideas in the last few minutes. So yeah, the Ambire marketing team is already acting. Promise you, we'll do our best, especially on the AI generated ones. All right. I think that we're almost ready to wrap it up. And my last question is a fun one. I want you to get out your crystal balls and every one of you pick a date on which you think that Pectra will go live and like place a friendly bet, and we'll see who is closest eventually.
What's the reward?
In
Fame
shares.
for sure.
I would
And
say
gas
1st of
money in
July.
Ambire.
Sorry, so 1st of June.
1st of June. All right.
April 18th.
I was going to
like
say,
to say May.
mid-April for me. So 15th, let's say. Even if the later it is, the more time it gives us for implementation. So, I'm not sure I want to win, actually.
Okay, so I just used ChatGPT because I have 0 clue. And their answer, which is now my answer, is April 8th. So very soon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
By the way, I should probably be saying May. I don't know why I said 1st of June, but it makes a lot of sense from a game theoretical perspective for the EF to give builders like a couple more months. Because if this goes live and there is wide support for it, it will have a much bigger impact than if it's rolled out gradually. Because you know how in Web3 we tend to build up the hype a lot, and then if it doesn't meet even half of the hype, then it will be dismissed as overhyped. And this is kind of what happened to 4337 in a way. In a psychological way, I mean, it was like so hyped in the beginning. It was like big headlines, account abstraction is going live on the Ethereum mainnet, and the reality isn't really like this. So then people really got sort of like this desperate reaction that it's not coming. So yeah.
Yeah, I think there was supposed to be an EF core developers like all hands either today or tomorrow. I'm not sure. So I think like we should know soon when it's actually going to come out. But I think like what's more interesting than like when it comes out on just ETH mainnet, like I think like the even more interesting question is when will we see like 7702 on all the networks? Because like more often than not, people tend to use multiple networks. But if I have 7702 enabled on one network but not the other, that's kind of going to be a weird experience for me as a user. So yeah, I think
this
that's
is
the
why
more
we have
interesting question.
this is why we have Scroll and Arbitrum on this live. So
Yeah, does it come as part of like EVM equivalence? Meaning like for an L2 to say they are EVM equivalent, you would need to support 7702, or is it like not part of that package?
So the definition of EVM equivalence is you can write in Solidity and then your bytecode is the same. So you have the same opcodes and precompiles. So if it introduces any new opcodes and precompiles, then
it doesn't. So it's
yes.
not part of the definition, which is quite interesting because EIP-3074, which is like the previous version of 7702, actually introduced 2 new opcodes.
Very cool. Yeah, I have no clue how to like predict this. Honestly, I just pinged Polymarket to actually start a market on this. So we should all like start voting on it. I would probably go with what Chase said, which is like, you know, mid April, I guess.
We just started our Polymarket market. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. It was amazing. We've been joined by more than 400 people watching live. So this was amazing. I will personally send 5 USDC to whoever counts all the times we said 7702 in this stream. I'm really curious about that. Other than that, thank you very much. And yeah, see you around.
Thank you, folks.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Hi, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Have
Bye.
a good one.